What's going on, Rope Break family? Jean Paul here, like always. And first, I need to make a quick message. In yesterday's video, we did about CM Punk. Juan, he was so excited because he just wants to keep bringing you guys new content that he thought War Games and Survivor Series was this upcoming weekend when it's not until the following weekend. So he just wanted to make that clarification that he was just real excited and. So now that we got that out of the way, let's get into the review for Wednesday Night Dynamite. And this was the Fallout show from Full Gear. And normally Fallout shows, they kind of wrap up anything that the pay-per-view didn't with feuds, or they kind of create new feuds from the end of the feud that, was at the pay-per-view. So did the show do it? Well, let's see. Let's get right into it. So the show started out, they showed highlights from Full Gear. And then it went right to Kenny, and he was walking in the back, and you could see he was beat up. He had a really bad black eye, and he was just walking back to the doctor. And the doctor asked him, hey, how are you feeling, this and that. And they showed, the scars on his back from the barbed wire and the mouse traps. And, he said he felt all right. The shower stung a little bit, but other than that, he felt okay. And the doctor was checking him out, flashlight in his eyes and everything like that. And while all this is going on, like I said, it was showing clips from the match. And then Kenny asked how Moxley's health was. And the doctor, he kind of plays it off. He's like, oh, Moxley was beat up too, but, he's cleared this week and Kenny's not cleared. So that clearly bothers him because Moxley won, and also, he's cleared, Kenny's not clear, so he almost feels like he lost twice. And when Kenny leaves the room, Riho and Nakazawa are standing right there, and, they're close with Kenny, so they were real, sad and emotional to see Kenny in that state, and he's more defeated, I feel, like, mentally and all that than physically, because physically he would go out there and wrestle, but he feels like he lost and he's not cleared, so it's like in his mind he feels defeated most, I think. So that was good to see that character development with Kenny Omega, coming out of this feud, because it was a brutal match. I just want to touch on some people, I guess, in the community didn't like it. I don't know what there wasn't to like. I feel that main event, like we went over in our review, saved the show almost, because some minor issues that kept adding up. But that main event was great. I feel like people had a problem with it. You're not going to see this hardcore wrestling every week. This was just a treat. And for the people to boo it and say, oh, they had to turn away, it was so violent, I don't know. It wasn't too bad. I don't know. Do you not watch Hollywood movies or anything? But hey, if it wasn't for you, then don't watch AEW, because I'm sure they're going to do this again in the future. But moving on from that, then Jon Moxley heads to the ring through the crowd, and Michael Nakazawa is waiting in the ring. So then it goes right into that match, Jon Moxley versus Michael Nakazawa. As soon as I saw this match, I pretty much thought this is going to be a squash match, and that's essentially what it was. Nakazawa, he has his famous baby oil, but he doesn't want to use that because, he's all upset with what Moxley did to Kenny. So this was like a serious fight. He wasn't going to do his joking around and this and that. So he throws the little baby oil bottle aside and swings at Moxley. Moxley just hits him with his lariat, knocks him in the corner, beats him down. And then Nakazawa goes to, try to make a comeback. Moxley counters it, hits him with a paradigm shift, done. So not very long of a match. It might have went on a minute or two, if even 2 minutes. I doubt it. And then the best part of the match was after it was over, Moxley grabs the mic. He looks at the crowd and he's like, this one counts, right? And he said that, Moxley's a lot of things, but he's not a liar. He said what he would do to Omega. They made this match unsanctioned. He pretty much said he was going to take Omega to hell. He was going to destroy him, that he'd never be the same again after this match. And that's essentially what he did. Like I said, he destroyed Omega's psyche more than his body. Moxley's great on the mic. He's great in the ring. And I really like his character progression from this as well. Because now he wasn't just he got even more intense, if you can believe it. Now he's on like a warpath because he said that he doesn't think there's anyone in the locker room that has the balls to step up to him in the ring. He said it doesn't matter because he's going to run through everyone on the roster. He's going to burn the whole place down until he's the last man standing. And he's like, if anybody steps in the ring with me, you better kiss your family goodbye. And, that's pretty much it. And then he walks through the crowd again, and I mean, like, this guy, he's cutting this, like, just savage promo. He's just going to beat everybody up, but the crowd loves him. It's great. I love him. He's definitely one of the high spots, I think, on Dynamite. And, how can you not be behind Jon Moxley with all the bullshit he went through, especially with his last Dean Ambrose run, and even before that with the Brock Lesnar feud, the WrestleMania match and all that stuff. Like, this guy's so creative and he's so great, and he was just being held down. So I really enjoy seeing him here. And like I said, both guys, him and Kenny, they both had great character progression moving forward from that. So then we go into another match. They announced pretty much every match that was going to be on the card tonight. The two squash matches, they just announced, the main people who are going over, Jon Moxley and then Nyla Rose. They said they would both be in action. But they announced the Dark Order, Evil Uno, and Grayson. I don't know if there was a copyright issue or something, or just a creative, but he was Stu Grayson, and they changed it to just Grayson. Stu Grayson, to me, made him sound kind of like, like he's your dad or something, like, oh, or your neighbor. So for it to just be Grayson kind of fits more like the Dark Order, just like having that one name. But, I mean, to me, it didn't matter either way. But so now Evil Uno and Grayson versus the Jurassic Express, Jungle Boy, and Marco Stunt. So the match started off with Stunt, getting an arm drag and doing, the moves that he can sell on Grayson. And the Jurassic Express got, I want to say, the upper hand at first, but it wasn't like super long, but they definitely had the offense first. He tags in Jungle Boy. Grayson and Jungle Boy go back and forth. Stunts gets in. Like I said, he always does the Hurricane Ranas, the arm drags and stuff like that. He does a Cannonball Senton, double stomp. Grayson tags in Uno with a big boot, power slam, Uno up to the top rope. So corner senton, and I believe it was this senton. There was one that he hit on Marco Stunt, and it might just because of Evil Uno's size. I think he's like 270, 280, and Marco Stunt is, I don't know, probably barely 100, not even. He came down, and the senton, it might have hit just the top of his shoulders, hit like maybe grazed the side of Marco Stunt. Like, it wasn't a good senton. Again, if you showed the right camera angle, but I don't even know if a camera angle would save it. I think it was just the positioning, because he didn't want to crush the guy. But he hits the senton, gets a near 2 count on that. Like I said, back and forth then at this point, but the Dark Order still kind of holds that, that the lead in this. Like I said, it's back and forth, but the advantage is clearly with the Dark Order. I feel like this team of when it's Jungle Boy and Marco Stunt, they're always going to lose, and that's not like, oh, just me hating on Marco Stunt. I feel unless you're putting them in there with another, like a job team, like they're going to lose because you're just going to get that underdog. Because if you keep adding all these losses onto Marco Stunt, eventually when he goes, I feel, into maybe like a singles role or something, and he gets a win, it'll be such a huge moment. Maybe he wins like a battle royal or something like that. Kind of get like a Mikey Wimbrick kind of vibe from him. Like that ultimate underdog. He just lose. And then when he wins, it's like, holy crap. So I didn't expect Jurassic Express to win. And, they didn't. Pretty much then when the match all goes down to the end, Grayson, he hits a big backbreaker on Stunt. And then Uno lifts up Stunt onto his back. They hit the fatality, 1, 2, 3. The winner is the Dark Order. Then after the match, all the creepers come into the ring. Evil Uno gets on the mic and he tells Stunt that, he has a big or great heart or great, will to prove everyone wrong because of his size, but he lacks purpose or something like that. And he pretty much, he has a creeper mask, and he says, join with us, and, we'll lead you down this path of success, and we'll give you a purpose in your life, and you'll be a winner. And Stunt goes to actually go for the mask, and I like this because I was thinking, this is a character change, a gimmick change. While the crowd was behind Marco Stunt when he was in there, he's definitely over with the crowd to a certain extent. But he just, it would have been a good character change because there is a lot of people on the internet who do blast him. I mean, I blasted him at first as well, but he's starting to, I I don't hate on the guy. It's just a little unbelievable with some the guys he's in there with, but sometimes it's wrestling. You gotta suspend your belief in reality and stuff, and just have fun with it. But he, he starts to reach for the mask. Jungle Boy stops him, and then Marco Stunt's like, yeah, you're right. So it's almost like he was being tempted. So you don't know if the Dark Order has some kind of magic or, something like that. So it was really cool to kind of see like the gimmick from the Dark Order. Like they're really drawing him in and all this stuff. And Jungle Boy has to, pull him away. But is that like something like Marco Stunt is easily influenced or weak-minded? Maybe this is a story they continue on in the future and they get Marco Stunt on their team. If these two teams feud, because after all of this, then Evil Uno's like, okay, I respect your choice or something like that. And then all the creepers just start beating him up. And then Grayson and Evil Uno, they get in on the action, start kicking them all, and the crowd's chanting for Luchasaurus. Boom, his music hits. I didn't think he was going to be back this soon. This was definitely a high spot of the night. I'm a big fan of Luchasaurus, so he comes out. One of the creepers comes up, and he pretty much kicks him in the face and then stomps him right on the ground. It was like the best thing ever. So he annihilated that guy. He was done for like 2 weeks. And then Luchasaurus, he starts walking to the ring and he's just knocking these creepers down. He gets into the ring and there's 3 of them standing there. He does the tail whip, that spinning kick, knocks down all 3 of them. Evil Uno and Grayson are standing there. Evil Uno just like taps him on the shoulder or like pushes him. He's like, yeah, you got it, man. Rolls out of the ring. He gets choke slammed, standing moonsault, and Grayson's done. He didn't stand a chance. But at the end of the day, the Dark Order gets the win. That's all that I care about. Luchasaurus is back. Marco Stunt, Jungle Boy, they all came in the ring. All 3 of them celebrated. Jim Ross said, it was like a Kodak moment. I agree. I love seeing all 3 of these guys together. But I think if you continue, I'd like to see a feud with these 2 teams. Like I said, Marco Stunt being the centerpiece. Who's he going to go with? Is he going to maybe be drawn into the Dark Order? Or, I hope this isn't just a one-off match, because you did kind of plant some seeds here. They are very, very little bit of storytelling, but there is something you can go on to with that. So then after that, it went to Shawn Spears with Tully Blanchard. Like I said, I'm always glad to see Tully Blanchard, especially with a guy like Shawn Spears. And the 2 of them together, seeing them every time is great. I really like it. Then you had Peter Avalon with Leva Bates and Darby Allin. And then as soon as, you see all the names in this match, you think, okay, Peter Avalon's definitely taking the fall. How would they get there? So the match, started, let's go Darby. Like, the crowd is white hot for Darby Allin. They love him, and they definitely loved him more after this match was over. So Spears and Allen's, they're going at it a little bit in the ring, and because they're the 2 top dogs in this match. Nobody cares about the little barking, dog Peter Avalon. Nobody's worried about him. So they start jaw-jacking back and forth, and Avalon, he goes for a crossbody, but both guys move out of the way. Smack, nothing. He gets thrown out of the ring. Like I said, this guy's like the job comedic guy. I actually like it. Like when he comes out, I usually laugh at least 1 or 2 things he does or says, so I don't mind him. Because, you know his role. Like The Rock said, know your role, shut your mouth. That's Peter Avalon, except he doesn't shut his mouth, which is part of his gimmick. So Spears and Allen, they go at it. Allen with a springboard arm drag on Spears. He goes out of the ring. Allen goes after Avalon. And then, he heads up to the top rope. Spears sends him crashing to the mat. He goes to cover him near 2 fall. Spears gets some momentum. And then at that point, Joey Janela runs out. So this is one of the feuds where I didn't think that this match should have been on Full Gear. But now that the feud is continuing, because like I said, where were they going from here? Spears won, so usually when a heel wins, a feud's not over unless it was a match that there was some direction for the heel to go after this, and there really wasn't any, because it wasn't like Cody won the championship and then Shawn Spears could challenge Cody or something. There was no real direction for either guy, so it would have been good to see the feud continue, and that's exactly what they're doing. So I was happy about that. So Spears and Janela start fighting, and then they get knocked into the crowd, and then Spears is pretty much done in this match. Then Avalon starts going at Darby Allin, but he doesn't stand a chance. Darby Allin does that reverse stunner or whatever that is, and then he hits, he does the coffin drop, 1, 2, 3, and then he wins the match. After the match, like I said, if you didn't like him before, you like him now. He picked up the mic, and he goes, "John Moxley, I accept." So when John Moxley said there's nobody with, big enough balls here to challenge him, and, no one is as hardcore or extreme. I mean, that's not really what he said, but, nobody can stand up to him. He's the baddest guy in AEW, but Darby Allin's going to challenge him, and they announced that match for next week. So that's one I'm definitely looking forward to. I'm not sure if that's the main event. I don't know if they announced the main event yet, but I definitely feel like that, could deserve the main event spot if they're going to give it the proper time, which they haven't done, but I'll get into that subject a little bit later. So now we get into the second squash match of the night. Nyla Rose versus Danny Jordan. This was her AEW debut. I didn't look up anything about her. I don't know if she signed with them or if this was just a one-off appearance and they're like, oh, let's see how you do, kid, and if we like you, we'll sign you. Didn't really get a chance to show herself. Rose immediately just beats the crap out of her. I think Danny Jordan goes for one kind of like a slap or a punch or something. I don't even know if it connects. Rose hits her with a lariat into the corner, Samoan drop, and then her finisher, the sit-out powerbomb, and it's done. This is just right like the John Moxley match. Maybe 2-3 minutes. Didn't really do much for me. You bring somebody in, you get squashed. I know you don't want to have Nyla Rose look weak at all, especially against the, unfortunate nothing against her, a no-name in Danny Jordan, but, let these people get a little bit of offense in, show them what you can do. You can still have Nyla Rose win, but I don't know. It wasn't bad for what it was. I guess, it is what it is. But then after the match, they show clips from Jake Hager attacking Dustin Rhodes a couple weeks ago. And they said Dustin Rhodes still has about maybe 3-4 weeks left in his recovery, about a month. So that would be good. I really like seeing him on episodes of AEW Dark. And I would like to see him wrestle more on the actual show. But they played up this injury angle and all that for this Cody Jericho storyline. So that was that's good to see that he will be coming back, though. And then they also announced, and this I thought was interesting, the Dynamite Dozen Battle Royal. So a dozen guys randomly chosen. They didn't announce any of the names yet. All these guys will be in the ring, and the last 2 guys will then fight each other the following week, and the winner will get the AEW Diamond Ring. I don't know what this ring is. I know Juan reported, he read that there was going to be a title. I guess this is maybe what was reported, but then that wasn't the truth, and this is really what it is. It's this diamond ring. I don't know what the ring is going to signify or what it means, but, we'll see what it is, and if they show it off next week, hopefully, when they have the Battle Royal. So that's something I'm looking forward to. And then we get another interview with Tony Schiavone where he gets interrupted yet again. I don't know if he actually had a full interview. He might have had one. I think he's 1 for 4. But I'm not sure on that record. I should keep that track of that. We'll keep a little checklist. Tony Schiavone interview record. But he has Allie down there, and fortunately, Allie goes for the cheap city pop. Oh, so happy to be here in Nashville. Blah, blah, blah. Talks about how she wrestled a lot on AEW Dark, which I do actually like Allie, so I'm not going to bury her there with a cheap pop. But she pretty much said that she wrestled a lot on AEW Dark, not so much on Dynamite. She really wants to get onto Dynamite and show everybody who's watching, what she's really about. And boom, lights go out. as soon as this happened, I immediately thought Awesome Kong. Boom, 8,000 Ways to Die. She's one of them. Awesome Kong. And when we did our Full Gear preview and predictions, I said, we're talking about Riho in the women's division. I said, get this belt off Riho because I don't think it's the right direction right now. I know their initiative with the Joshi wrestlers and stuff, but it's not working for a majority of the fans, I feel. So get it off her, but do it if the story makes sense. And I thought the story that made the most sense was you have somebody like Nyla Rose or Awesome Kong, who's just a monster, beat her. And then that way, she lost just because of the weight and the height difference. She couldn't overcome that factor, unfortunately. But after seeing Awesome Kong here tonight and that awful spinning back fist that she hit on Allie, I don't know if I want to see Awesome Kong in the ring. Because then I kind of went back and watched a little bit of her previous matches, and she does not look too good. So I do agree with Ryan and them. I don't know if she's the right choice. I do like them attacking Allie because Allie and Brandy have some history. And now you're kind of retouching on this history, which is one of the major... which is one of the major storylines that they started and then kind of went away from. And now they're back at it, and I'm happy because it's finally building some story in the women's division. I hope this isn't just a one-off attack like on B. Priestley. And then I hope, I hope it's not the case that we don't see Allie for, 3, 4, 5 weeks. I hope we see her next week and she calls out Brandy or, Awesome Kong or whatever. But, just like she did on B. Priestley, Awesome Kong comes out. And like I said, she nails that awful spinning back fist on Allie. It looks like it was 3 inches away from hitting her face. She cuts off a chunk of Allie's hair, does the same thing, sniffs it, and then her and Brandy walk away. And that was pretty much it for that segment. Then after that, we get probably the best part of the night, I want to say. And again, it involves our champion, a little bit of the bubbly, Chris Jericho. So he comes out to the ring, and he said by the end of the night, he's going to be a double champion to further prove why he is the best champion of all time. And he said he wants a thank you, but not from the stupid rednecks here in Nashville. He wants one from all the AEW roster and employees for being the best champion because he's beaten every single person they put in front of him. He's even beaten Cody Rhodes. And Cody Rhodes isn't as good as he thinks he is. He's an entitled millennial son of a bitch. And when he says that, boom, Cody's music hits. And you think, oh shit, here comes Cody. Nope. Out walks MJF. Chorus of boos. The whole place is booing this guy. MJF comes walking to the ring nice and slow, looking around, absorbing all these boos in. He says if he hasn't thrown in the towel for Cody, his career would be over. He's not the villain, Cody's the villain. And Cody couldn't give a shit about any of these fans. He said Cody couldn't give a shit about MJF either. The only reason he befriended MJF was because he saw MJF as a young guy with a lot of talent and he was scared. So he thought he could put him under his thumb. And he said, listen here, Blondie, I'm too big to be put under your thumb. And, this is what I really liked because this definitely wasn't a shoot. This is all, storyline. They're definitely still really good friends behind the scenes and this and that. But it made sense storyline and it was believable. Because when MJF came in, you thought, oh, he was his own solo act, him and Hangman Page. When they had that really good interaction in the Battle Royal and all that, I thought to me, Hangman, if he beats Jericho, MJF is his number one guy. Like, that's the feud you do going out of this, first championship match. Obviously, they went with Jericho, which I feel is obviously the right choice. But then MJF kind of fell to the wayside, and it's like, where's he going? Then he teams up with Cody for some reason, and you think, oh, well, MJF is a heel. Is Cody a heel? Oh, no, Cody's a babyface because he turned face after his match with Dustin. So then it's like his MJF face. It was all confusing. So now everything is all finally making sense with this. And then, he calls out like I said, he calls him out, and he's like, you can't keep me under your thumb. And then MJF and Jericho, they kind of have a little back and forth about something with like a Mount Rushmore. And he's like, Jericho said if MJF he'd be on like his third or fourth row or something of Mount Rushmore, or his third or fourth Mount Rushmore. And then MJF says that he heard from a little birdie that Jericho wants him to be in the inner circle. And Jericho said, that's funny because I heard that you want to be in the inner circle. And then he's like, well, I heard that you want me in. And he's like, well, I heard you want to be in. And they just kept going back and forth. And you know how these two guys are. You hear them once on the mic. You fall in love with them. You know, they're great. They're fantastic. Whether they're telling the truth or whether they're cutting you up, it don't matter. You love them. And you can just imagine these two interaction. It's great. It's like the passing of the guard almost. You know, Jericho's still here and he's going to be here for a little while yet. But you can just see, like, this is the old timer and the new timer, and you know, the current guy, and eventually it'll be, you're gonna, you know, he's gonna take Jericho's place as that number one heel in the company. You can just see it. And they, like I said, they go back and forth and they start saying they know, you know, or they go back and forth with this whole, you know, you want to be in the inner circle, I want to be in the inner circle. And then MJF is like, you know what, I actually don't want to join your little inner circle jerk, he says. So then they go from joking around, kind of laughing, and then they're like, oh, well, you know, then they kind of start arguing with each other. And then MJF said, you know, he makes fun of him, and he said like about a 3-letter name, you know, like Y2J, MJF, wearing the scarf, kind of like a similar haircut, and this and that. And he's like, oh yeah, you know, your parents must have been watching a match of me versus Juventud Guerrero and they got a little horny, and you know, boom, 9 months later, your dumbass popped out. And then the crowd was chanting, Hoovy, Hoovy, Hoovy. And then MJF was like, who's Hoovy? And then Jericho's like, Google it, kid. So that was great. I popped for that part. And then they said, but you know who the biggest jackass in AEW is? They both stop, say Cody Rhodes, and hug. So that's what I mean. It was a great thing. You know, they come out and they're kind of, you know, like against each other, then with each other, against each other, with each other. It was such a great promo. You definitely, if you didn't see it, you got to find a way to watch it. It was fantastic. Then after that, you know, Cody comes down to the ring and then he stares at both guys and he starts beating up both of these guys. And you're like, oh shit, Cody's getting the upper hand. And then Wardlow comes out. Wardlow, I think it is. Wardlow. They showed some video packages. They kept saying that they were showing him for weeks. I feel like I've only seen one video package for him. Unless they have stuff on their YouTube page or in AEW Dark. Because I have missed 1 or 2 episodes of AEW Dark. So excuse me if they showed some stuff on there, but I feel like I've only seen him once. But that doesn't take away from the fact that, you know, he had a great first appearance on the show. And when he, you know, like I said, he wiped out Cody. MJF was like, you know, I think he did a choke slam on him, and MJF was like, yeah, get him. So it looks like he's going to be MJF's muscle, which MJF isn't the biggest guy. So I feel like having a muscle is great, because then you can do something with Wardlow, Jake Hager, eventually, and you could have them be in a tag team match, MJF and Jericho, or just those two guys going against each other by themselves. You know, there's a lot you can do, because I don't think MJF joining the Inner Circle was good. So I'm glad that it seems like he's going to be his own little heel group, you know, him and his bodyguard. So this was, like I said, probably the best segment of the night. It really cemented the MJF heel. Him and Cody are still feuding. Their feud just started, and, you know, they're continuing on with that story really well. The introduction of Wardlow, you know, now who is going to be Cody's answer? Is there going to be an answer? The Young Bucks are all in their feud with Santana and Ortiz, and Kenny's, you know, he's out of commission at least for this week. And even when he comes back, you don't know how good he's going to be for the next couple weeks. So, you know, who's Cody? And Dustin's out. Obviously, DDP's old. You know, who does Cody got to, you know, fight Wardlow when, you know, he's fighting MJF? So it's really interesting to see where they're going to go. I'm excited. And then Then we go to the next match, which is Pac versus Hangman Adam Page. When they announced this match, again, I was like, what is this WWE booking? We had this match, I think this is the fourth time now. At least the third or fourth time we've seen these guys. Was it a great match? Yes, it was. I'm not even going to go through the match except for the ending. Pretty much, it goes to the spot where the referee's backed into the corner, and it's the referee, Pac, and then Hangman Page, and he goes to crotch Hangman from behind. Hangman catches him, but Pac knocks him down, and Pac is just kicking him in the head over and over and over, stomping his head in, and the ref pulls Pac off, and Pac pushes him out of the way, keeps stomping his head. The ref threatens, hey, I'm going to disqualify you, knock it off. Eventually, he climbs up. He hits the Black Arrow, goes into the Brutalizer. Hangman's knocked out cold. He can't submit. Ref sees it, calls for the bell. The winner, Pac the Bastard. Now, you had Pac win, and I thought that the feud was over. Then you had Hangman come out, and he said, blah, blah, blah. I'm going to kick your ass at Full Gear. Crowd was chanting cowboy shit. They loved it. I loved it. Because then I thought, okay, this is going to be the blow-off, but he's going to lose. You got to get Pac over. Pac loses. Okay, Hangman's over. Whatever. So be it. And we get the match again. Hangman loses. Now what? I don't know what these guys are fighting for. Obviously, they hate each other now. They've had 3-4 matches. It's went back and forth. Obviously, they're competitive guys. They're jealous. They are upset. Oh, you beat me, I beat you. Who's the better guy? We don't know. If it's 4 matches, I think it's tied, 2 apiece, unless it's 3-1 in Pac's favor. But, what are they feuding for? It's not like there's some personal story. All these other feuds, the Young Bucks and Pride and Powerful are proud and powerful. They have history. They kept jumping them, beating them up in matches and stuff. I mean, these guys had a little bit of history and stuff on Being the Elite, but not everybody watches that. So they should show some clips from Being the Elite or something during Dynamite, so we kind of understand why these guys hate each other so much. If there even is a reason, because I don't watch Being the Elite. I'm going to be honest with you. There's so much that I watch, and, with working a full-time job and all that, there's too much to watch. I don't watch as much as I even would like. So that's why I feel, and there's a lot of people who probably are like me who probably don't even watch as much as I do. So I feel like they need to show the essential information on TV, because to me this feud, while I said these matches are great, the feud, it has no purpose. These two guys are fighting and they hate each other, but there's no real reason. Besides what I see is they're just competitive. I mean, they hate each other because, Pac's a bastard, and, he low blowed him and this and that, and he's a dirty player, he's a heel. I don't know, there's lots of heels. Are you going to have a long, feud with every heel for no reason? No, you need to have a reason behind it. So that's one thing that kind of, bothered me a little bit, but hopefully there's a story. They really need to wrap this up if there's not going to be a story. Otherwise, you need to plant the seeds now and get a story going, because I don't know how many more matches between these two I can sit through without tearing it apart. Because, like I said, I'm not going to keep repeating myself, because then I'll be like these guys, broken record. But anyway, I hope they get a story for it, and I hope, we get some resolve from these two guys. So then after that, we go backstage. And again, like all the other backstage fights and all this other stuff, when it first happened, I was like, okay, this is pretty cool. Then I look at the clock, and I'm thinking we have a main event, a tag team title match main event. And the clock's ticking and ticking and ticking and ticking away. So the backstage, the Young Bucks are battling Santana and Ortiz, and they're just beating the crap out of each other. He puts Ortiz through a table. Looks like that's some little Dixie cups or little green Gatorade cups on the end. Santana's on top of a forklift. He jumps off on everybody. He throws Nick into the bathroom, and the door swings open, and Orange Cassidy's just standing there. And this part, I was dying at this part. This was hilarious. He's not like he was using the bathroom. He's just standing there, hands in his pockets, just looking. And then Santana's like, oh, like the look on his face was like, oh, sorry, dude. Like he's taking a shit or something. He just closes the door. And it was great. It was just one of those, like, it was like a cartoon moment. There's a huge brawl. Everybody's beating the crap out of each other. And he has time to just be like, oh, sorry, man. And close the door. Like, it was so great. Then these two teams, they battle out onto the stage, and they're just beating the crap out of each other. Private Party then comes out, and oh no, the power bomb. Yeah, that's right. I wasn't sure when the power bomb spot. They power bombed. Which one was it? Did they power bomb? I always get the Young Bucks mixed up. I'm sorry. Swings it over. They focus. Oh, they powerbomb Matt. So they powerbomb Matt through the table, the same spot like they did to the Rock and Roll Express. They spray painted the big target on the equipment box or the ramp, whatever you want to call it, the little side piece. Powerbombed him through it. And then after that, Private Party come out. And Private Party, they kind of, then the numbers games against them. And then, Santana and Ortiz, they get out of there. Security kind of separates them. And, that's pretty much the end of this. Now, this is to set up a match next week between Private Party and Proud and Powerful. And both of these guys, I know they said on commentary that, what was his name? Matt Travis. That was it. Matt Travis. He unfortunately passed away. He was in a automobile accident. A truck driver hit him while he was riding his bicycle, and he would wrestle for House of Glory. And both of these two teams were part of House of Glory, so they said on commentary this match would be to honor him. So that's a really cool thing that they're doing. I really like that. But the one thing I didn't like was how long this segment took. Because now we only had, I think, like maybe 18 minutes for the match. You think, okay, 15, they do the run through the entrances quick, kind of get things going. 15 minutes should be good for a main event, Obviously, the titles weren't going to change. We didn't think they were. If this was WWE, they'd probably pull some stuff like that. But, you thought SCU was going to retain here. And then you had, the teams made their entrances and all this. And like I said, you don't do a combined entrance for Sammy Guevara and Chris Jericho. They do two separate entrances, and, that's just eating up time. They're both in the inner circle. Just put them together and come out together. But Jericho, he came out. He had Jake Hager with him. Then Guevara comes out, and then SCU comes out. They have Christopher Daniels. So you have the 3-on-3 dynamic. Obviously, the last two, Daniels and Hager, weren't in the match, but you knew they were going to get involved. So I'm not going to go through this match too much because I feel like it was rushed. Like I said, by the time they started the match, they had about 10 minutes, maybe 9-10 minutes to do this match. So you knew how good was this match going to be. And then they wrestled for maybe 2 or 3 minutes and a commercial break. Now they do picture-in-picture, but I don't count that because as soon as they say, oh, we're going to go to commercial break, how many people will quick switch the channel if you're watching NXT? You want to switch to NXT, or you got to go to the bathroom, or you got to get a drink, or you check your phone, or you do this, you do that. You're not always going to pay attention for it to be a commercial and like a picture-in-picture. Excuse me. And some people who are really invested in the product will sit there. I sat there and I watched it, but like I said, that's not for your main event. There should have been no picture-in-picture. You could have cut down the segment with the big brawl with the Young Bucks, and then, Private Party came out later. You could have cut that segment down. You could have eliminated one of these squash matches and just had this match. Or you could have extended the 2 squash matches and extended the brawl and had it be, oh, we had this main event planned for the tag team matches, but There's brawls breaking out, and you could have had it maybe spill into the ring and all this other stuff. And then it's like, oh, this is crazy. This is madness. We promise this match will be shown next week. And then have it next week. And then that's your main event next week. And then you can still have, the Battle Royal, and then Darby Allin. And I think they announced another match. And then that would be it. Because the Battle Royal should get time. And, this tag team match should get time. You should give John Moxley, Darby Allin some time. But, the match pretty much ended where Chris Jericho, he hit a code breaker on Sky. The whole match, and pretty much the whole show, the commentary was just saying how SCU is the hottest team in AEW, and it's all because of Scorpio Sky. Scorpio Sky made this team hot by coming in. And that's why I feel they were really hot on Scorpio Sky before, AEW and all that started. And then they announced Christopher Daniels and Kazarian to be in the team. Christopher Daniels gets hurt, and then he's out. They bring in Sky, this whole, he wrestled in one shoe and his, black skinny jeans or dress pants or whatever. You build this story up, and then you just keep building Scorpio Sky up and up and up. And then I feel by doing that, I don't know if they plan to do a singles push or something with him, but they showed Jericho's record as 7-0 overall. And at the end of this match, it was Jericho. Like I said, he hit the code breaker on Scorpio Sky. He kicked out. Jericho picks up Sky. You assume he's going to set him up for the Judas effect. Inside cradle, 1, 2, 3. Boom. Scorpio Sky gets the first pin on Le Champion, Chris Jericho. What do I think? Obviously, I think that SCU should have won. And you don't want SCU to get the crap beat out of them and win by a DQ or anything crazy like that. Like I said, they're building up Scorpio Sky, and Jericho had to lose at some point. He's still the champion. The tag team belts didn't change, which I felt was the right plan. I feel if you would have given him to the Inner Circle, that wouldn't have made too much sense. I don't think like a one group power trip makes sense story wise right now. So SCU I feel is the right team to win. And I always complain Sammy Guevara loses and loses and loses, but in this role, it's a tag team match. I feel he could have got pinned here again, and it wouldn't have really changed his stock. I feel like he is where he is, and he's really not going to go down any further. Not saying he's at the bottom of the barrel, but he's at where he's at, and he's at a good spot because he's in the Inner Circle, so his stock can only go up with wins. He can't go down. He's kind of like, he's being held there. He can't go down. He can only go up. So for him to lose, I don't think, or eat the pin, I don't think would have been a big deal. But like I said, I really, really think they're pushing Scorpio Sky, so they wanted to get him to have the pin on Jericho. Or the roll-up. Same thing, but we all know I hate roll-ups. Then after the match, Jericho starts beating the crap out of the ring. The post with the chair. He can't believe it. He's upset. Boom. Done. I don't like how these shows always cut off right away. I don't know why. Like, there's no just... It's like, you get your adrenaline and you're excited, and then it's just boom. Like the power went out. Like you're playing, like a game of, Call of Duty or something. You're in the middle of a war and then boom, power goes out. You're like, what happened? There's no like cool down. It's like your game ends and you're, okay, set the controller down, relax. They just, we'll see you next week, blah, 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 done. They need to do a better job with time management. Sound like a broken record. I bitch about it every week, but I'm going to keep complaining until something is done. Because it's the one thing that's holding them back. I know I talk about storylines and this and that, but believe me, their storylines are a lot better than most of the stuff we're seeing on Monday and Friday. So I'm not going to, say that they're bad in any sense, but I know that, especially with the women's division, they can do better. But the one thing I will harp on, and the one thing I will say is just my only issue with them is time management. They need to start getting that better. I said after Full Gear, I'm done. I'm going to, every time something comes up, I'm not going to forgive it and say, oh, well, they're this and that. No. After Full Gear, I'm going to call them out. And like I said, I'm going to call them out on this. Because this whole match, you didn't even need it. but because you made it, you got to give it its time and its respect. It's a tag team title match. It wasn't just SCU versus the Inner Circle. This was for the belts. They could have legitimately lost, and then it went to the Inner Circle. So it wasn't like a joke match that didn't mean anything. You give it less than 10 minutes in ring time is pretty pathetic in the slap in the face in the belts, I feel. But again, like, you can make the argument this match shouldn't have happened, but then don't make it happen. Like I said, just don't book it. It made no sense storyline wise. Like I said, the only thing that I could see this match, the purpose of it is to get Scorpio Sky that win, because you're doing a singles push, I guess relatively soon, unless they're going to keep harping on that point months down the line that he pinned Jericho. But Jericho's going to have to eat another pin sometime. I don't know what relevance that's going to hold for Scorpio Sky unless they do something with that soon. So we'll see where they go. Like I said, next week's show looks fantastic. We got the Darby Allin, John Moxley. I'm really excited for that Battle Royal, even though I'm unsure about the ring and what that's going to mean, if that's going to count like a belt or a championship, or if the ring, means something, if it's kind of supposed to be like Vince McMahon's brass ring, like he says. I don't know what this is supposed to mean, but we'll see. Was this a good episode? If I had to sum it up, I would say yes, it was a good episode. Was it great? No. I really feel, again, time management. The time management has been bad since, I shouldn't say bad, but there's spots where time management has been an issue ever since the tag team finals. Ever since that episode where SCU beat the Lucha Bros, I just felt that every episode following has had an issue with time here or there. Commentary I didn't think was bad tonight. Normally I said, Excalibur's rushing through things, or, he's getting jumbled over his words, but it really wasn't bad. I thought, the commentary was good. Everything they said was great. So I think they're calming down and everything's good on that regard. It's just the time management yet. But it was a good episode. Again, the MJF Jericho thing was great. Cody, Wardlow coming out, his debut, all that was great. And then John Moxley was great, setting up that match with Darby Allin. You still continued the Joey Janela, Sean Spears feud. So the only real issue I have is just the Hangman Page and Pac, and then kind of this useless match at the end, which made no sense. They just need to have some direction for those two guys, and don't book a main event that makes no sense, that you're not going to give the time to. Don't book it unless you're going to do something with it. So overall, good episode of Dynamite. Could have been better, but it definitely wasn't bad. Like I said, it's definitely a hell of a lot better than what we saw on Monday. It'll most likely be better than what we saw on, or what we'll be seeing on Friday. But was it better than what we saw if you watched NXT? Watch our video tonight with me and the creator of Road Break, Juan, and find out. So, thanks for watching, Road Break family. That was my review on AEW Dynamite edition of November 13th. And if you like what you saw here, please follow us on Facebook, subscribe on YouTube, comment. We also want to do, if you guys like the top 10s, we have a bunch of them on the channel. Check them out. If you have another top 10 you want us to do, let us know, whether it's your favorite wrestlers' matches, or somebody like that, or WrestleManias, something like that. Favorite WrestleMania matches, SummerSlam matches, anything kind of like that that's not already on the channel. Comment below. Like I said, follow us on Facebook, Twitter, and obviously here on YouTube. Subscribe. And we have a lot of stuff coming. Like I said, NXT is going to be tonight as well, and then we're going to have a SmackDown on Friday night. So lots of good stuff to look forward to. And as always, thank you, Road Break family, for subscribing. Thank you, new subscribers and viewers, and we will see you next time. Ada.